By, the meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Welcome to the Village of Wappinger Falls workshop meeting. Second monthly meeting of the Mayor and the Board of Trustees for Wednesday, July 27, 2024. Please rise with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shut their phones off.
Roll call, clerk.
Mayor Sereno.
Present.
Trustee Sadat.
Here.
Trustee Telizak.
Here.
Trustee Nesnick.
Here.
Trustee Huber. Absent.
He's on vacation at the Jersey Shore. God bless him.
Trustee Ruffin. Absent.
Absent.
Trustee Laricella.
Here.
Village Attorney Wallace.
Here.
Authorization to pay bills as per approved warrants.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mayor votes aye.
Regular session, I'd like to draw your attention to the handout, this one. You may have all seen in there the proposal from RBT and what they would do, and what they would not do, and what their charges are, or would be. On page 2, it shows their 22 rate, and then it shows a discounted rate to the far right. So the discounted rate for a partner to be involved would be $304 an hour. Manager $274, supervisor $248, senior accountant $206, in-charge accountant $160, and associate $132. I don't know if you've had time to look at all this.
Well, I think the question was, I thought the other angle of it was they were going to scour around and look to see if they had any butts.
That's a different company altogether. Yeah,
So
that's a subsidiary of RBT that are out headhunting.
Can I just make one mention? I feel like this became a moot point when we decided to hire Jessica McMahon.
Short term.
Short term. Well, we don't intend to have RBT be our long. Initially, I thought RBT. The thought was, or at least why I had brought it to the board, was that sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
You thought like Cedar had done for us in the past, would send somebody in to bridge to the new.
Correct, and at the time, Jessica McMahon hadn't
Right.
been
And
mentioned.
in the meantime, we have.
Then in the
her.
meantime, we secured her. Thankfully, she's doing the things that make us function.
And it's gonna be
And
while.
we've approved 3 months.
yeah, it might even be more than that.
And we might have. So I don't know, I mean, does anybody, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would recommend that we table this actually. It may be until later on tonight, I don't know.
Yeah.
But some of these things should be a la carte. And, you know, it's possible that we may not need the services,
And
the
it's
whole entire
totality.
scope of the services.
Yeah.
So,
I agree, that's kind of what I was getting to. I don't know.
It might even.
one thing I would caution the board, and I want to talk to RBT myself, is we have to actually hire an individual. We can't hire a firm as our village treasurer. So
Right.
an individual.
There's two parts to this. There's two parts. There's another company out there that you did hire that's a headhunter.
Through RBT. RBT refers us.
RBT,
Yeah, okay.
They're Angel, what are they called?
it's a spin-off
Yeah.
of RBT, that all they do is go out and recruit. We hired them to do that at 18% of whatever the salary is offered.
And we were gonna find out
They're
if it
doing
was
that.
prorated or not. We were supposed to.
We can do that.
Right. And they're doing that.
That company's doing that, and she must already have some candidates available, I think. I can follow up tomorrow on that one. This one might be worthwhile to just give this to Jessica and say, how does this, are you able to do all these things? And if not, check the ones we should be aware of.
Yeah, I agree.
And then maybe we do something with those, but.
But this is so complex.
Right now is the vouchers and payroll.
Yeah, this seems to be so comprehensive. And then the other challenge is, and what I had hoped, and maybe we'll ask Trustee Niznik if she probably was also maybe expecting some sort of quantification of how many hours that might be. So we do have the hourly rate, but we don't have any expectation of what it might be to satisfy this. I mean, are we suggesting that's 40 hours? Were we supposed to assume it's 35 hours, which is the outlined minimum requirement for a sitting treasurer? If so, that's fine.
Well, plus the other thing is I don't think it anywhere says where we're guaranteed on that line who we're getting, whether it is the $130 an hour or the $300 an hour.
No, I think you may be perhaps correct. I was thinking perhaps we could choose. I don't know.
Well, we've
But
done that.
those are the things, the particulars that I was expecting to see.
Yeah, I didn't see where it says we got to choose, but,
All right, village attorney would like you to hold off on this.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, just make a motion.
I'll make a motion to table this.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
Okay, next we have a resolution 19-2022, a resolution of the village board of the village of Wappingers Falls introducing a draft village comprehensive plan.
Clerk Carter just wanted to recognize Tom Morris from the planning board is here. You know, with his hard work, he's been working on this for several years. I want to commend and thank him for all the hard work he's done and recognize him with Michelle Gregg and Lisa Cobb. We have a long way to go.
And Bonnie Kiefer
And Bonnie Kiefer.
sat shoulder to shoulder and really
Yeah.
hashed it out.
And Trustee Larcella as well.
lesser
So,
degree.
I would ask Tom if you could come forward. We're introducing the plan just to kickstart the process right now. The plan's been in the making for quite some time. It is a proposal. It has to go to the planning board for referral, according to our code. It also has to go to county planning. This is a little more of an extensive document than your average referral. So I expect it could take 30 to 60 days just to hear back from county planning and all the other interested agencies, including the planning board. So really, the next step, if you adopt this particular resolution, which is just basically an introductory, we would be waiting for those public comments to incorporate, and we would be having a public hearing at that moment in time. The public hearing probably, I was going to recommend that you insert the September date, which is September 14, I believe. Is that right, Kurt Carter?
September 14th.
If we need more time and we know that ahead of time, we can always change that before Clerk Karsh advertises the public hearing date.
One thing I'd also like to make mention of after speaking with Michelle Grieg is that it would probably be in our best interest, it was recommended that we reach out to a county, and maybe it's through Michelle, I don't know, and let them know that we are not opposed to giving them more than 30 days because it's so dense. It is such a major thing for them to sift through, and I don't know if you want to speak to that. But.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, please come up. Thanks for coming, by the way.
Tom Morris, Chair of the Planning Board. Yes, Michelle has already had preliminary discussions with the county, and the county, just because the document itself is being brought before them for their review, they're asking to have 60 days. Typically, it's only 30, but they've requested that they could have 60 just so they can do a thorough job of looking through it. I don't object to that. I want to make sure that we get their comments. The planning board, even though Bonnie and myself have been working on it, the full planning board has not looked at it, and that's what we need the board here to officially send it to the planning board so all members can take a look at it. And those comments will be compiled and brought back. The county's comments will be compiled and brought back. Public hearing, as Mr. Wallace has stated, needs to be held. We need all those comments from the public as well, and then we can address all those comments as we move forward. But we got to get the ball started so we can start pulling this information together so that we can get to the next phase, which would be getting the comprehensive plan and use map behind us and agree to, as this is the direction for the village. Then based on that and any changes that need to incorporate will then be rolled into the zoning code so that the zoning code reflects and supports the comprehensive plan.
So then can I ask, if we're going to extend to 60 days, do we need to change that September 14th to the,
October 12th.
Well,
or no?
the net is the county's comments, planning board comments, and the public comments. They're not serial. They don't have to happen serially. They can happen in parallel, and then the compilation of all those comments will then come together, and that's what we have to address. We have to. What's going to happen with the comprehensive plan is the village board has to hold a public hearing. They have to collect information, have to respond to that. They have to close that public hearing. Then they have to open a second public hearing on the comprehensive plan. And at that point in time, any other comments in that might not have been picked up or explained well, etc., will then have to be addressed. And then once all those are complete, addressed, and the board is comfortable with that comprehensive plan as the direction for the Village of Wappingers Falls, then the zoning code, which has already been drafted, will then have to be modified to reflect whatever changes happened in the comprehensive plan. What we did was we actually drafted up a comprehensive plan. We drafted up zoning codes to match that. But if any changes happen to the comp plan, the changes have to be rolled down into the zoning code to actually reflect and support the comprehensive plan.
So just to be clear, for my benefit, we don't need county's comment to go open. Okay, great. Thank you.
No, you could.
Okay, I just want to make.
Because we are going to address every comment from all those three different areas.
Gotcha. Okay.
The village public, the county, and the planning board.
Thank you.
So the date of September, or October 12th was thrown out there, but maybe September 28th for the public
Well,
hearing?
no, we can do the 14th because it's I thought we're going to collate all of these things. I thought that we had to have counties in, and since we don't, we should keep it for the 14th.
September?
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, if you want to do the 28th, that's fine too, but we don't need to go to October 12th.
No, I agree with you on October
We're going to
12th.
have to address all the comments anyway.
Anyway.
In the future,
Yeah.
and then bring that back to the public.
So I think we should do the 14th because this has been a long, arduous process and we should start to,
I agree. Here's what's going to, I envision, is after the public hearing before this board, I would rather, I think we need the planning board's advisory opinion though. Do you foresee any input from the planning board that would be incorporated into this?
For the county,
No, and for this board, actually.
from the planning board, like I said, Bonnie and I have been mainly working along, as you mentioned earlier, for the last couple of years. I believe we've captured all the comments that have come from the planning board, but I can't say for sure, because we do have new members on the board. They're going to have questions. They might have new insight, etc. We've got to make sure that we recognize their thoughts. The county, same thing. I don't foresee any major reflection from the county, but again,
You never know.
you just never know. But we believe, at least I believe, the work that we did will address the comments that the county could potentially give us. I think so. We'll find out for sure when they actually give it to us.
So if there's wholesale changes that are made to this document, we should really incorporate them into this document a second time,
Yes.
and then present that to the public for a second public hearing.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to do that. Even if there are no changes to the document, we have to hold a second public hearing. It's just the way the code makes us go forward, so that the public has ample opportunity to weigh in on the potential changes and comprehensive plan for the future. Yes.
Just for clarity for myself, so you can have the first meeting, the first public hearing, changes can be put into place. You don't have to repeat that first meeting, you just have to address it in the second meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct. You have to respond to those comments. Now, you can either extend that first meeting to give those responses, but once you do that, then you have to officially close it.
So if after the first meeting and you get comments where you think you might change something or be agreeable to change something, you have to send that up to county?
Up to the county again?
Because it might be different from what
The
you
county's
originally
gonna
sent
get two
them?
submissions.
Yes, the county, we will send, any potential changes we will send to the county so that they can give us a further discussion on that. It's better that we're all in sync as we go forward. So we'll get the first public hearing, we'll have the comments from the planning board from the county, well, maybe not the county just yet, but we'll have the public comments. Then we'll address those and roll them back out to the public, everybody again, because we'll have to post it on the website so everybody in the public can go read the comprehensive plan that's under discussion. Then, once we feel that we've addressed those comments, we'll close that public hearing. Then there'll be an amount of time, I don't know what that time is yet, and then we'll open it again to allow everybody else to have digested it, mulled it over, and it'll be time for us to open it again for another round to make sure that everybody's in sync with it.
Clerk Karsh, can you make sure that the comprehensive plan is actually on our website?
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah. We have it in digital format right now, so.
That's correct, it's in PDF format. Yeah. I think Michelle has, she sent it to the board, and she copied you on that. It should be in your email, if not, let me know. And
I don't think I could open it when she sent it.
you have to download it, so you can't do it on your phones. It's too large for
I
that.
don't do anything on the phone, but I couldn't download it on my desktop computer.
Really? Okay.
All
Well,
right,
I'll see, I have a copy, I'll send it to you. Hopefully it's not too big. I might have to,
What I do with it, since we don't have anyone to update our website or Facebook or any other social media stuff, I send it to OCIS in Poughkeepsie,
okay.
and they've been doing it for us. So if you send it to me in email, I'll send it up to them.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So did we decide on the 14th?
Yes, the 14th,
Okay,
please.
I will get that in the paper
Yes.
the end of this month, or the end of August, for September's hearing.
So can I make a motion to,
Well, we're not done yet.
Any further questions
Sorry.
before you guys do your thing? or- No?
Thank you, Tom.
Tom,
Thank you.
So can I have a motion to introduce this resolution?
I'd like to make that motion.
Like to second it?
Seconded by trustee Sarati. Can I have a roll call vote? Mayor Serino,
Aye.
trustee Sarati,
Aye.
trustee Nesnick,
Aye.
trustee Telizak,
Aye.
trustee Larissella,
Aye.
trustee Ruffin absent, trustee Huber absent. Carried.
Clerk Parjo would just, for the record, put in there that on the second page that the public hearing where it's blank would be now on September 14, 2022 at 7 p.m. And
Yeah.
that the comprehensive plan will be on the village website. And we'll leave it up to you to publish for post.
I will do two things. Put it on the website, and I'll publish the public hearing. And you're gonna have Mercedes do B?
Yeah, we're gonna identify the interested agencies for mailing, and I'll talk to Brian Murphy and to Mercedes about sending these documents to county on the RAMP platform so that, you know, they get it in their proper format that they want
For ramp, for Poughkeepsie.
for the county.
County will only take the,
Okay, but I'm talking about, I'm gonna do the notice, and
This has got to be.
the abutting municipalities need to be notified within 10 days. And you were gonna have Mercedes do that?
Yeah, I will have, I'll have her, we're gonna get somebody to do it, but we're going to have, you can see the last, be it further resolved, there's 4 tasks here.
Right.
So these 4 tasks have to be timely attended to. And the planning board is going to receive a copy. So while she's notifying the planning board, she can help assist us hopefully with RAMP, with the county, and we can get all that done and get these tasks completed.
Well, I just wanna make sure it gets done, because I won't be
Absolutely.
around. I can do A when I get back.
Yep, I got you.
Okay, all right. Approval to change status of part-time court clerk to full-time. Trustee Nesnick.
So I met with Judge Chase, and they have gone from two full-timers and 2 part-timers to 4 part-timers, which leaves a void of 30 hours in the department. So we were, as you know, trying to work a few things out. The judge was working with us on that, but they're getting to a point where they're starting to back up. So he would like to take one of the part-timers, a Jennifer Lynn Boldrin, and promote her to full-time.
Is that your recommendation?
It is my recommendation, yes. I think he's been patient, waiting for us to come up with, to solve some of our issues that we had with that. They've had to close the courts on Fridays to the public to catch up on paperwork, so obviously it's open for discussion, but that's what he has asked for, and I'm bringing that to you here today.
The hourly rate would be under the CBA, right?
Yes.
So they went from 2 full-timers and 2 part-timers to 4 part-timers.
They went from two and two to just 4 part-timers.
Right. They're down 1 FTE.
Well, it's only actually 3 part-timers are being paid.
They currently have 3.
They have 3 on payroll. 3 part-timers on payroll. The other one is a helper.
Okay.
Non-paid helper?
Yeah. And I can tell you from my office point of view is they need someone full-time to help them, somebody to coordinate things with them that's going to be around for a while because things are falling through the cracks here and there.
And that was the other thing that he brought up, was just for somebody to manage the office itself. They lost Donna. They lost their second full-timer, so their experienced people are gone.
They had Nora full-time,
Nora
they
is
had Donna
full-time.
full-time, they're both gone.
How many hours would she be?
35.
Makes sense to me.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the change of status from part-time court clerk to full-time court clerk.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor votes aye.
Carried. Discussion hiring Paylocity to perform payroll. Trustee Lauricella.
Yeah, so, maybe I'll lean on you a little bit, Clerk Carge, because you were kind of working this on my behalf. I don't know if there's, so, it doesn't seem that we have the ability to get, based on what we have done right now, there's no information that I have as far as costs and whatnot on what it would cost us, the village, to have payroll done by an independent outside agency. It appears, and this is where I'll pass it off to Mr. Carge, because he spoke with Janet from RBT.
To have a fair assessment of what they would charge would mean they would have to come in and fully understand how we operate with our employees, how we pay them, and they would have to understand all 3 union contracts in detail. Also, you're paying weekly. That drives the cost up tremendously as opposed to bi-monthly or twice monthly.
Is this something that we feel is necessary, being, it's kind of the same situation that we just talked about? We have somebody here that's filling in. Is
Well,
this something that?
no.
If you want to entertain this somewhere down the line, it's something you can look at. We looked at paychecks in the past and found it was not feasible.
Right, we looked at other companies in the past, because I had brought this up quite a long time ago. I was told it's just not feasible. However, Janet did say that this company is much easier to work with. What that means, I'm not sure. I do concede, though, weekly versus bi-weekly is a challenge. The difference is, and I've spoke to other highly qualified, informed, and competent people who've been in this space for a long time, many municipalities are moving in this direction. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just trying to be proactive and not reactive. I had hoped that I was offered through, in an email chain that they would get us a price. And when I said, yes, please proceed, it came back with, we have to do this giant, audit of what is needed to give a proper price.
And actually,
Which they would do.
Which they would do. And the thought, Jen, just to be direct, is not really solved now, because my thought was perhaps that would be the direction we went, regardless of our future treasurer's position, because we had feedback from Ms. McMahon in the past. Not that she was not capable of doing payroll, but that, there was other things she was doing, there were other things she was working on, I think, I could be wrong, and we were trying to do it in-house. The challenge that was at the time, it doesn't take quite enough work. I'm just talking, if I'm saying things I shouldn't be saying, somebody stop me, okay? you know, it could take less hours than is afforded to this person. And then, but if this person in the union that's got the 20 hours a week, it takes them 4 hours to do the payroll, and you can't, you know, but you can't work 5 hours doing this other thing because the union won't allow it. So there's a lot of drag that gets put on. Our last situation was very challenging. So my thought was, Jen, just to be direct again, no, it would not be solved if we had a different treasurer. It would be possibly payroll, and these matters just get handled by an outside agency.
Since Jessica is here, if you could answer a question for me, how long a week does it take to do payroll? And you've answered this question for me in the past, so.
No, so it depends on what the payroll week looks like. So if there's like holidays and stuff like that, then obviously it's going to take a little bit longer because you have to make sure that you're giving everybody the time that they're allotted according to their union contracts and stuff like that. This week it took me 5 hours. I know when Brianna was here, she was taking probably between 6 and 8 a week.
Now, when you say
If I could just say one thing,
go ahead.
and I'm not trying to be argumentative at all. I had a nice conversation with Brianna at one time. She told me it was about 4 hours.
Right.
And so, and sometimes it did take her 8, I'm sure. I'm not being argumentative.
To be honest
just
with you,
saying-
that was the number you gave me in the past, was 4 hours. It takes approximately 4 hours a week to do payroll.
And so the issue had become sometimes when it would be like, okay, cool, well, can you do this? There would be union
Well,
issues in the past, not with you.
No, I know. When we came up with her title, the payroll clerk title, the description that we sent to county included AP and bank recs. And they came back with the payroll clerk title being the best fit for her because a majority of her time would have been spent on payroll because there's like, you know, there's weekly payments to the IRS, the New York State, and then there's monthly payments, and then there's filings quarterly, so, and then there's W-2s. So all that would fall under the payroll clerk title. So when we sent that up there, it was a majority of payroll time, and then backup time would be AP and bank recs. And they had no problem with that when we sent the description up there. And then all of a sudden it came back that we couldn't have her do anything except for what was in the payroll clerk thing.
And then the other challenge is when that was in the scope of work, there weren't a lot of gains. I'm not making any judgment. I'm not being disparaging of anything, buddy. And now we're aware that there's possibly a great solution for bank recs. So bank recs might become not an issue in our office per se because there might be a project, which we'll discuss at a later time. So if that's the case, it seems to me that it may become an efficient way to properly and foolproof way to consistently get everyone paid the proper way, the way they're supposed to do it, and allow the treasurer to focus on other tasks that now 2 treasurers have explicitly told, you being one of them, have explicitly told us is a challenge. So that was my thought. As a business owner, I thought I would be able to go there and say, hey, how much for this? This is how many employees. This is what we have to do. And they'd say, okay.
Yeah.
I have a few employees, so it's obviously very simple.
Right.
They've now said they need to have a 30,000-foot view, examine everything. I think it would be smart to have them do it and tell us, and maybe in the end, it might cost us something, and perhaps there's an opportunity for us in the near immediate future. I don't know. If anyone is watching and don't get upset, maybe we can re-examine how frequently we pay people.
So
These are all just maybes.
When
and
before
hopes.
we had hired the payroll clerk, I did do all of that information for paychecks and, what's the other one? ADP. So I have that. I probably still have the documents on my computer if you want.
This Paylocity, I've never heard of the company.
I've heard of them.
So maybe they come in with a sweetheart deal, maybe not.
I believe that they kind of, so on people's paychecks, instead of saying that they're employed by the Village of Wappingers, it'll say you're employed by Paylocity. Like, so the employees are essentially like rented from Paylocity. They work here, but it says that their employer is Paylocity.
That might not be good.
So,
That's not
so,
something we
so tonight, amongst talking about it, are we just looking to see, to have them give us a price, come in, see what we're about, and give us a cost?
Yeah, I think that's where this.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be like, let's do it.
Is there any,
Well, she already has it.
Well,
She has-
you have
I
it for
have it from
ADP
and
and
Paychex, so I
Paychex.
didn't look into it.
So yeah, we could listen, we could
Yeah.
love to review that information
Yeah.
and
So you have-
possibly,
Well, you bring them in here, somebody's gotta sit down with them and go over everything. Who's gonna do that?
Right, we do not
You can do
currently,
it on a Friday afternoon, then I can do it.
Meet with them?
Yeah.
do we have any idea how much time they will need to meet with you to get the kind of
I mean,
information?
usually they just send you a document and you have to fill out the questions. So I don't know what you got from Paylocity, but if you want me to take a look.
we've got nothing.
Oh.
The woman said, hey, I have a great connection with Paylocity. Would you like some info? I said, that'd be great. And
Janet
then,
Gianetta?
yeah.
Yeah.
when you, I'm sorry, when you said you had.
And then it was,
But don't you think though, that the focus really should be on bi-monthly payroll?
Well, you're,
That would be great.
Isn't that really where you should be channeling your energy?
well, we can't do that at the moment. That's
can't.
premature and it's not the proper
Premature, you can't
people
do
to talk about.
Right,
you have to
can't do
open up
that
the
until you
contract, you have to negotiate.
Huh?
Direct deposit too.
Yeah, direct deposit, all of those things we need to,
right.
you know.
I can reach
just am
out to them.
Trying to
And I'll set it up for you to
build
meet.
back better, are they saying? I'm just trying to build back better.
I will reach out to them and hook them up with her,
That was a joke.
okay?
Yeah.
Well,
Total joke.
if you're going to, if we're looking for information, then let's make it fair game. You have the two other companies and get Paylocity.
Yeah, that was all.
And just start a discussion and find out what their best guess estimate would be then.
And, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
As long as we're clear that they're not gonna come in and ask for 10 or 20 or 30 hours of time from our people to give them the information they need to come back with that.
Well, you'll find that out in the first sit-down.
Doesn't normally take that long, but the person that's in charge of payroll would be in charge of still uploading everybody's time to the program, whatever.
And how long does that take approximately?
Less than an hour.
So we've
The
gone,
calculations and things that have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it could be the calculations, but the bottom line, a 4-hour job turns to a 1-hour job. Is that what we're looking at?
And if you set it up a certain way, it is quite possible that the department heads could also, like a general
Yeah.
quote
That's
company
possible.
could say, this is my gang, this is my crew of people, and this is what they worked. And then it actually could be minutes
Yeah.
and divided by several
Okay,
departments.
I'll hook you up with them tomorrow.
Thank you.
Discussion the alleyway project, I'm told we're gonna do that later.
Craig, we were gonna speak about that in executive, right?
Yeah.
Next is approval to balance the personnel contract negotiation, labor negotiation members between the three wards. The reorg that we did on 4/4/22 were trustee Nesnick, trustee Lauricella, and trustee Ruffin. It's a little lopsided. You have one from the third, two from the second, and none from the first.
Well, the rebalancing would have to be then a trustee from the first ward to add to trustee Niznik and Lauricella. Or Ruffin. So one of those two will have to be deleted and one of the first ward trustees added. And since both of those individuals, Ruffin, trustee Ruffin and Huber, are not present, it's not fair for me to name one. So I will name one to balance this out after consulting with all of them. Trustees Niznik, Ruffin, Huber, and Sadati. And I'll make that decision at the next board meeting.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, I'll put that on for August. And while I'm talking about that, by the way, I will be out of the village, beginning August 4th, returning August 23rd. So the next meeting, I'm asking Heather to sit in for me, will be August 10th. Table to August 10th. Okay, last printed item on the agenda is discussion with about the Treasurer Department with the mayor, the attorney, and Jessica McMahon.
Recommend that the board discuss this in executive session since it involves some items that are subject to executive session.
Money.
I'm gonna need a motion.
Before we go into executive, can I just ask a couple, one statement, one quick, and two quick questions? Please?
Okay.
One was just that it was brought to my attention that a resident, David Televari, had volunteered his time to do quite a lot of landscaping and debris removal down at Vets Field, which was really great for the kids at the camp. There's some poison sumac and big overgrown trees and things, and this he did it to try to improve their experience and their safety, and he did it free of charge, which was pretty nice thing. And Denise Pantaleo, the camp director, noticed it and it was very appreciative of it, so that's a great thing. Second thing is a question from Chief Ensign, and I'm just asking this way so that it's on the record, and maybe he's watching it. But thankfully, Lori Java had gotten the Village of Wappingers a grant for fire equipment. I don't know what the title of the grant is, but it's about $51,000. It's to be used for heat, thermal guns, and some cameras and things like that. So his pointed question is for you, Craig. Does the purchase of this equipment need to go out to bid? He says, we do have Garrison Fire Equipment that is the sole provider of the cameras we were going to buy, which are MSA 6000s. So he was saying, since they're the sole provider, does it need to go out to bid? He's looking for some advice.
If it's subject to the procurement value threshold, and it meets that, yes, it would have to go through
Okay.
procurement.
And so how would he do that if there's only one, you just get the one bid and that's what it is?
No, it would go out to bid,
But if only one company sells the cameras,
yes.
so there's no bid, well, it would be the
Well,
one bid.
it-
So he solicits the bids and then there's a time period? Yeah, okay.
If they're actually registered with the state, we can piggyback or bootstrap, they call it. And you don't have to go through procurement because that is an exception to procurement
Okay. Okay, great.
under the state finance law.
Okay.
Sole provider is normally an exception as well. So if he can prove that there's nobody else in the area that sells them, then I don't think you'd have a problem not going to bid.
Okay, so would someone more qualified than me articulate to him
Yeah.
what is?
Yeah, I
what
will,
is the-
but we gotta back up a second here.
Mhm.
The grant, the way the grant was written and submitted had many items in it,
Correct.
but only a few were selected to bring you to the 51K. So until you know what items were permitted, you really can't do anything.
Yeah, I believe they have the list of what's permitted.
Not an hour ago.
Oh, no? Okay.
So I would suggest that Jason hold off until Lori tells him what specific items were checked off in the grant. I don't know if it's the parapet, I don't know if it's the cameras, or if it's something else. So I think before we go,
Okay.
off and start spending, we should know what they're going, because they come down and audit you.
Yeah. Well, that's why the question was asked, and that's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
Of you, because we want to be above board as always, right? And now is no different.
And we want to find out what is actually in the grant.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last question, maybe for this may be executive session, and these are all things that were brought to me just like before I walked in here. That's why they're not on the agenda. But this, our labor attorney Brooke Youngworth asked.
I think that this would probably be it.
Okay, perfect. Talk about it in exec. That's all for me.
You have anything else, Mayor?
No, I have one item, possibly two for exec.
If there aren't any more items to discuss in the open session, can we have a motion to move to executive?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Ooh,